Enugu to Ilorin. All across Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make your day. We are news. We are 24 News Radio TV.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us on the news update on 24 News. That is the 24 News at noon. My name is Olushola Oyewole. The state governor, Mr. Abiodun Yebanji, has urged residents to be patient with a promise that all federal roads in the state will be fixed for easy vehicular movement. Reacting on the state of federal roads in the state at an event at Ijerikiti, Oyebanji said that 3 of the 6 roads had been awarded for reconstruction. According to reports, the governor said that construction work was ongoing at Ikere Iju, Itaobolu Akure Road, while Ado Ijon, Iluamoba Ikare Akoko, by the federal government with a contractor on site. He added that the road linking Kogi with Omoifaki had also been awarded for rehabilitation, while the state government, on its own, had reconstructed Ado Iworoko Ifaki, which also serves as a federal road to ease vehicular movement. Saying there are 2 federal roads that have not been touched, the governor identified Aramoko Itawore as a route yet to be touched and said that the road will be included in next year's budget as earlier promised by the Senate leader Opeyemi Bamidele. Construction will be extended to Jero and Idu-Ekiti. Oyebanji thanked President Bola Tinubu for supporting the ongoing development strides in the state. Nigeria exported crude oil worth $1.34 billion to the United States in the first 5 months of 2025, maintaining the country's position as America's leading African oil supplier. Figures from the U.S. Census Bureau and Bureau of Economic Analysis show that the U.S. purchased a total of 17.39 million barrels of Nigerian crude between January and May 2025. Although energy-related like crude were exempted from recent import tariffs introduced by the administration of President Donald Trump, the volume still declined from the 20.4 million barrels valued at $1.52 billion recorded during the same period in 2024. And back in Nigeria, Odua People's Congress reformed leader Chief Dade Adeshokwe has sent a strong warning to former Niger Delta militant leader Mujahid Asadi Dokubo for calling the Yoruba betrayers. The ex-militant leader, during a live broadcast circulating on the internet, had recently accused Tinubu and Yoruba of being betrayers. Dokubo also vowed to form an alliance with the North to work against Tinubu's re-election in 2027. Adeshokwe, in a statement, said the former militant leader should speak for himself and not ruin the good relationship that coexists between the Yoruba and the Ijaw people. The Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and the M23 rebel group have signed a declaration of principles in Qatar to end fighting in eastern Congo. The declaration was signed between representatives of both sides in Doha. The DRC and the 23 rebels were engaged in heavy fighting spurred by M23's bloody January assault and capture of the DRC's 2 largest cities. This long conflict has roots in the 1994 Rwandan genocide. The M23 made up primarily of ethnic Tutsi fighters. The Congolese fighting has killed thousands and displaced hundreds of thousands more this year, while escalating the risk of a full-blown regional war. Prince Al Wadid bin Al Saud, a Saudi royal widely known as the Sleeping Prince, has died at the age of 36, nearly 2 decades after a car accident left him in a coma. The prince was 15 years old when he suffered a brain hemorrhage and internal bleeding in a devastating car crash in London in 2005. He never regained full consciousness and was kept on life support at King Abdulaziz Medical City in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, until his death. His father, Prince Khaled Al Saud, confirmed the passing in a post on X handle. Hundreds of thousands of supporters of Bangladesh's largest Islamist party took part in a rally in the capital Dhaka demanding an overhaul of the electoral system. The South Asian nation is expected to head to the polls next year as it stands at a crossroads after the ouster of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. On Saturday, Jamaat al-Islami placed a 7-point demand on the country's interim government headed by Muhammad Yunus to ensure a free, fair, and peaceful election, justice for all mass killings, essential reforms, and the proclamation and implementation of a charter involving last year's mass uprising. And from Japan comes the report that voters in Japan are going to the polls in an upper house election seen as a test of the popularity of Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba and his ruling coalitions, open nationwide at 7 in the morning and will continue until 8 p.m. in most places, according to Japan's national broadcaster NHK. The rising cost of living, especially for the staple food of rice, is a key issue for many voters, with population foreign policy also on the agenda. Opinion polls suggest Ishiba's Liberal Democratic Party (LDP) and coalition partner Komeito may fall short of the 50 seats needed to retain control of the 248-seat upper house of parliament in an election where half of the seats are up for grabs. Colombian President Gustavo Petro has traveled to Haiti for the second time this year in a significant show of support as spiraling gang violence continues to plague the Caribbean country. The Colombian government said Petro's visit has focused on talks on security, commerce, education, agriculture, and the fight against drug trafficking. Petro announced the opening of a Colombian embassy in the country's capital of Port-au-Prince. He has also pledged to help Haiti strengthen its security, offering to train Haitian officers. Moving on to South Korea, where report has it, disgraced former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has been indicted over his declaration of martial law last year as investigators widened an insurrection probe. The prosecution indicted Yoon on charges including abuse of power and obstruction of special official duties. Prosecutor Park Young said Yoon also did not follow the required procedure to declare martial law, including holding a meeting with all government cabinet members. In the meantime, United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio has announced Washington will restrict travel visas for Brazilian judicial officials and their immediate family members over what he called a political witch hunt against former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. Announcing the move, Rubio accused Brazilian Supreme Federal Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes of creating a sweeping persecution and censorship complex that not only violates basic rights of Brazilians but also extends beyond Brazil's shores to target Americans. The report says at least 37 people have died and several are still missing after a tourist boat capsized in Vietnam during bad weather. The incident took place in Ha Long Bay, a popular tourist destination in the north of the country. Most of the passengers were reportedly Vietnamese families visiting from the capital, Hanoi. Rescuers say heavy rain has been hindering the search for survivors, but so far 11 people have been pulled from the water alive. A statement from the Vietnamese border guards and navy said the vessel named Wonder Seas was carrying 53 people when it capsized after encountering a sudden storm. That's the much we have on the news at noon, coming to you from 24 News. Thank you for tuning in, and do stay with us for the rest of the broadcast for the day. Good afternoon and happy Sunday.
From Abuja to Lagos, Sokoto to Port Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin, all across Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make your day. We are news. We are 24 News Radio TV. From Abuja to Lagos, Sokoto to Port Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin, all across Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make your day. We are news.